Day, which is on the 15th of October, but we're celebrating and, of course, talking about that issue throughout this month of October. And just to give a few statistics around that, statistics that are out there indicate that 10 to 15% of women who knew they were pregnant have experienced pregnancy and infant loss. And in general, these are the definitions that are there, because pregnancy loss is defined around the world differently. But a baby who dies before 28 weeks of pregnancy is referred to as a miscarriage, and the babies who die at or after 28 weeks are described as stillbirth. So that's the conversation we're having here, and tonight we're asking, what's the best way to support someone who has gone through pregnancy and infant loss? What's the best way to support someone who has gone through pregnancy and infant loss? And we're joined by Joyce Mwangi, who is an author, and she runs a blog called His Creation, and also the founder of Healing Circles.
The integrated living.
Yes. Good to have you here on the show tonight.
Asante sana.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And Valentine, thank you for joining us as well.
Ati, thank you for joining us. Okay, Sawa, Mike. Yes, yes. Joyce, I'm so happy you're in studio with us. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
And Paule, I couldn't be there in person. I was looking forward to it. I'm still healing. I'm still recovering. I should be back next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But let's just dive right into it. Mm-hmm. This is a subject that's very dear to your heart, Joyce, and you've written about it extensively. You talk about it actually quite openly, which I found surprising when I first met you. Why is this so important to you?
This is important to me because it's my lived experience. In 2010 and in 2011, I had a miscarriage. I had a miscarriage each of those years. And it was very painful, physically painful, emotionally painful, mentally painful. And unfortunately at that time, I did not find a lot of support. Most people that were around me did not know what to do. So many of them did the wrong things. And I felt very alone and misunderstood, and mostly misunderstood. Like, because most people, they're like, but the baby, because my first baby, I lost my first baby in 2010. This is, yeah. So in 2010, that was on 3rd of March. Right. And I lost my second baby in 2011 on 15th of February. So it was just a very lonely journey for a long time until I was able to get into community with women who could speak my language, who knew what I was talking about, who knew what I'd gone through. So that is why it's close to my heart, because I know what I went through. And when I started speaking out to other people, it was almost the same journey. Like I was alone, people are saying things. And most of the time when you have a miscarriage, people say, oh, this person had an abortion, or this person was, they have been doing things, or they're just suspicious about what caused it.
And nobody, because maybe if you have done the research and you know you've read about it, what would you say are some of the common risk factors for pregnancy and infant loss?
Like for me, I'd speak about my own journey. One of the things that caused, that I was told by my doctor, her name is Dr. Angela, when we tried to check my history, was that I had fibroids. Okay. So before I tried to get pregnant, I knew I had fibroids, but I didn't know the extent or how much they'd affect like a pregnancy journey. But then when I lost my first baby, then I lost my second baby, and I remember Dr. Angela, she was like, Wanjiku, we need to sit down and have this conversation. Like, we need to do something about it, because what happens with the fibroids is when you're pregnant, the fibroids now start growing at the same rate with the baby, so they're like competing. And so in the end, what we had to do, I did a myomectomy, which is a surgical removal of fibroids. Right. And it's a major surgery, and there's no guarantee. You can remove the fibroids and never get a baby, or even get worse.
And they can recur?
Yes, they can recur. They can recur, or you can, and they can, sometimes they're not able, like for my case, when they did the myomectomy, Angela was not able to remove all of them, because there were some that were in delicate spots. So you see, it's a gamble. you know, yet it's a major, very invasive surgery. So for many people, it's different causes. For other people, it's just like this, you can't really pin down a reason, you know, like maybe stress, maybe some people it's, you're just maybe in a stressful like workplace, stressful relationship, or your body just is not able to hold, you know, a pregnancy.
When I was reading up about it, I also had, I also saw something called a silent miscarriage, where where a pregnant woman would be under the impression that the pregnancy is still ongoing, but the miscarriage had happened without her knowing. And so, in your conversations, is that a common thing that you've heard of? Or?
Yes, yes. For most of the women that I have talked to who have like a silent, it's really very painful because you know something has happened to your body. You know something happened, but you're not able to pinpoint it. And for most women that have these miscarriages that they're not able even to talk about or like to say that they had a miscarriage, it happens in the first 3 months of pregnancy. You don't even know you're pregnant. And then for some reason, one day you have this like what you'd call like a big, you know, period time. So you're menstruating, you think you're menstruating for a long time, but you're having these major cramps. You're just, something is going on, but you can't say what it is. And you know something happened, but you don't even know what happened.
Okay, Valentine?
Joyce, in as much as Mike has pointed out the statistics and we see stillbirths and miscarriages are quite common actually, why is it that it's so covered in shame? Women, you know, there's a lot of guilt, women blame themselves, what did I do? Like from what you're saying, there's really nothing you can do to prevent a miscarriage. It's not like women bring it on themselves, you know, unless you're taking drugs or smoking or drinking a lot, you're really not the one who caused the miscarriage. So why is it covered in so much shame? Yeah.
For me, I'd say it's a lack of understanding, and that's why for me this month is very key and very important. October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, the whole month, and 15 is Remembrance Day. I think where there's not knowledge, people just put myths and stories and gossips and their own things. So when people don't understand something and you know it's your lived experience and they're pointing fingers at you and they're whispering about you, and then you also don't understand what is happening, you don't have an explanation to it, and then you have this crowd of people that also, it's just a very bad dance between you, the person who's gone through it, between these people who also don't understand. But I feel as we continue to raise awareness about pregnancy and infant loss, the women and girls who have gone through this and the people that surround them, as people become aware, I feel, I don't know, maybe they'll be more kind. I don't know if that's a wishful thing, but they know what to do.
Yeah, I think just offering that support system, and then just also treating somebody with dignity and respect, and as a human being.
Exactly.
Because I think in our society, we turn, whenever we don't understand something, we vilify and demonize it, you know. So it's either witchcraft or it's, you know, we're always pointing the blame at somebody. In your conversations, in your healing circle, in your healing circles, what are women who've gone through the experience saying about medical staff and the experience that they have gone through, and whether they were sensitive or insensitive about what you're experiencing? Yeah,
you get both sides, the good or the bad. So for example, in my experience, and I've been in hospital, I have 3 living children, and even for those, they started threatening preterm labor at 28 weeks. So I had to be in hospital and wondering, are they going to live, are they going to die? And then also the miscarriages. For most women, you get the good or the bad. We always pray for the good ones, but you can end up in the hands of the bad ones who will just speak, you know, they'll say something, you know, huyu akona shida, you know, huyu hata hawezi eka mimba, and you know, they're saying it, and you're really at your lowest, you know, and or you'll find the good ones that, you know, whisper a prayer for you, give a word of encouragement, and even the very good ones that explain to you what is happening to your body, what did we do to you, what is going to happen when you leave here. Normally, I pray for more of those the good ones, but you get both.
Yeah, because I would imagine that not having the information about, first of all, like you're saying, you you yourself don't understand what's happening with your own body. Here's a journey that you are prepared to take and see it, you know, to fruition completely. And then now you're in a situation where you're sort of being rushed out of a facility, and then you don't even know what happens next.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that must be very disorienting.
It is.
You know,
it
completely.
Is.
So, in the healing circles, how do you find, or how do you, explain to us the healing circles and how those work.
Okay, so I run a program called Integrated Living.
Right.
So Integrated Living is a specifically curated program. It's a personal development and spiritual journey program specifically curated for women and girls. One of the programs we have under Integrated Living is a healing circle. And we do a healing circle for women and girls who have gone through pregnancy and infant loss.
Right.
Basically, a healing circle is a healing circle.
Right.
Like we surround you and become a container for you. We see you, we listen to you, we join you in your pain. We're not here to judge you as you explain yourself, as you cry, as you just feel your we're not judging you. We are here, we feel you because we have gone through it,
Right.
okay?
Right.
So we are holding your pain. We're also journeying together to be able to see the before, the now, and because there's life after, you know, child loss.
Right.
The grieving, yes, does continue, but you do need to live. It's hard, but when you're in a circle that sees you, because I think for me, one of the most important things, that people who see you, people who, it's not like you need validation of your pain, but people who do not minimize, you know,
Right.
your loss.
Yes.
The fact that you had a child, the fact that you had made space in your heart, in your life for this child, you had dreams, you know, as soon as somebody knows they're pregnant, they start planning, you know, you have ideas about names, you have ideas about places you can live, things you can do with it. Then all of a sudden, this person is no longer there. So you're mourning so many things. You're mourning the loss, you're mourning what is happening to your body, then you're mourning the future that will never be. So the healing circle provides a space of people who know exactly what you're talking about. They speak your language. So they're able to hold you and they're able to walk with you in your healing journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation we're having here this evening. Of course, Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month is October, and that's the conversation we're having. And asking you, what do you think you could do to support somebody who's going through pregnancy and infant loss? What do you think is the best way to support somebody who's going through pregnancy and infant loss? The WhatsApp number is on the screen. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. And if you or anybody you know has gone through that experience. More on this after this break.